YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Wednesday vlog episode. Today we're going to be going over all my tanks as usual. Going to be checking everything out. I got a few new additions in some of them. Got a new tank right here. Set this up on Sunday. Make sure you check that video out. I got a couple questions that I want to ask you guys. Got some stuff that I haven't set up yet that I'm trying to figure out what to do with. Maybe get some ideas for some new projects. Questions about what kinds of fish I should add to some of these tanks. But I think that's about it, so let's get into it. Come on. All right, first thing I want to talk about is some updates on the Innovative Marine SR80. Everything's going really well in this tank right now. I discussed in some of my previous videos that I had some setbacks with some algae and losing power. Just a lot of things that weren't really going as planned there for a little while, but I think I got things back on track here. Those new Anthias are really doing well, so I'm very happy about that. Got this Lobophilia over here that's kind of bleaching. Not exactly sure what's going on with him. Recent occurrence here a couple weeks ago is very vibrant, so maybe just a little change in nutrients, but see if I can't get him to color back up. What I'm really happy about is this bird's nest coral. I discussed in maybe my first video that there for a while it was just completely covered in chrysophytes algae, and now you can see that it's definitely starting to clear up. There's a couple of areas where there's still a little bit left, but I mean, for the most part, this coral is starting to look beautiful again, so I'm really happy about that. Could deepen its color a little bit, but you know, we're getting there. I moved a few mushrooms out of this back corner over here and put them into my new little Ultim Nature Systems tank. So we'll go over that here in just a second. Finally got this Montipora glued back on. And yeah, you can see the chrysophytes algae. I can't seem to shake it in certain areas. This rock up here has just got coralline algae growing everywhere on it. So there's only a few little spots where there actually is some chrysophytes. I want to talk to you guys more about what I actually use on this tank as far as like filtration. So I use these mesh filter socks, and I really wouldn't look back on this this change from the filter socks. These are just so much easier to clean. You know, those cloth filter socks, they never get clean no matter what you do. And if you bleach them, it's a whole process. You got to throw them in the washing machine. You'll never get them clean if you're like pressure washing them or, you know, spraying it off with a hose or anything like that. So these plastic nylon mesh filter socks are really just the way to go. So I also have a refugium in this back chamber. Just some Chaetomorpha and the Toonsy refugium light. Been running this for about 1.5 years now, and it works really well to keep those phosphates down. It's a nice way to kind of regulate phosphates without, you know, completely removing them with some GFO, or, you know, every time you change out GFO, your phosphates are kind of going up and down. I feel like with Chaetomorpha, you get a little bit more control over that. Plus it's, you know, it's growing, it's adding oxygen back to the water, raising the pH. So I'm just a big fan of refugiums. I know they pull trace elements from the water, but if you're doing water changes regularly, that shouldn't be a problem. All right, so moving on to the next tank, we'll talk about my UNS 45U. Just had a couple of Recordia mushrooms. These purple Rhodactis that I took out of my SR80. Kind of had to take a little bit to clean those up. There's a bunch of bubble algae and just crap growing on them, so I'll show you guys kind of how I did that too. This is something that everybody should have, an aquarium maintenance cart. I roll this thing all around, taking care of all of my tanks. Everything's all neat and organized on there. Got those little cups that I can put anything wet back into it. Wouldn't be able to survive with all these aquariums if I didn't have that. I'll just say that. So I made a video last Wednesday that showed this auto top off reservoir. I haven't filled it since then. So this tank with a little glass top on it is evaporated maybe 6 or 8 inches of water out of here. That's like maybe half a gallon, maybe a gallon. Not actually sure how much this holds. I'll have to calculate that. But yeah, I mean, as far as being concerned with keeping this tank full without autofill, totally not worried about that anymore. This has been working great as well. Haven't had any issues with it dripping or coming off or anything. The water just flows right down and then down into here and comes out the bottom. There must be a little hole. Didn't think about that before, but whenever this filter gets blocked up, that water's got to go somewhere around it. And that's whenever this would pop up and float. So that water goes around and then just comes down the bottom right there. So this, perfect, splash free. Some of y'all had questions about this Fluval light. I mean, I think it's speaking for itself. It looks nice and crisp on the tank. Crisp, kind of blue-white light. Looks clean sitting above the top. It matches the filter and all that. And I got a little wire management to do. But yeah, I mean, this light is, for the price, fantastic. I don't know if it's going to grow SPS coral. I might throw a little bird's nest or Montipora or something in there. But it's doing great for soft corals. Never had a doubt about that. I think I'll end up throwing some LPS in here too, but we'll just have to see. Y'all guys keep up with it on the Wednesday vlogs. I'm sure I'll do another Sunday update on this video too. But yeah, just excited to see this tank kind of finally coming together. See what else I decide to put in here. And now we're on to the UNS 60S. I've been doing a lot of extra maintenance on this tank recently. I don't think I neglected it, but there's just a little bit of algae and stuff growing that I should have been pulling out a little bit more often. So I spent quite a bit of time, doing water changes, pulling algae, changing filter pads or cleaning the filter pads, just really staying on top of this tank. And I think I'm starting to reap the rewards of that. Everything's looking just really sharp right now. There's definitely still some algae in there. I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, I'll get some Amano shrimp in here eventually, but I really just want to get these plants growing really well and thick. That way they, are really out competing the algae for nutrients and light. I know this light may be a little overkill for this tank, but I really wanted to have kind of an over-the-top, appearance for it. This is kind of the main way that you see the tank. I'm never really crouching down here to look at it. I'm kind of always standing above to see. I think over the top is the main, viewing angle of the tank. And I'm really happy about adding these Ludwigia Super Red. I think that's adding a nice pop of color. Thinking about maybe some cherry shrimp in here. I would really like to do some fancy guppies and take out those cherry barbs. I'm concerned that those guppies are going to be too prone to jumping, so maybe reconsider that. I don't know. I might try it. Yeah, I just did a video on Sunday that showed the setup of this tank. Got everything in here except for the soil, the stand, and the light from Petco. So I think it came out really cool. I've never, normally I'm shopping at specialty aquarium shops for supplies, wood, rocks, plants, all that kind of stuff. So I was really happy to, kind of just walk into my local Petco and find some stuff that I could use. Kind of saw it as a little bit of a challenge. I think this turned out really cool, and it's only going to get better. These plants need to start growing. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really cool desktop Nano Escape once it's all grown in. Maybe throw in some shrimp in there, some cherry shrimp, something like that, something easy. There's no filter on there, so I don't want to, be concerned about keeping things alive necessarily, besides the plants. Considering maybe a betta fish, though this tank maybe is a little bit small. It's only 1.5 gallons. I know bettas, for the most part are born and raised in little cups, but I think I have a little bit more sympathy for them than that. But I don't know. It would be a pretty cool tank to live in, I think. Now on to my innovative marine lagoon. As per usual, this tank is just kind of on cruise control. Super easy to take care of. Nothing in here is really gonna, jump out and scare me. It's not, nothing's gonna go wrong to the point where it's just gonna collapse, at least at this point. Now, I've had this tank for 8 years. It's seen just about everything, so I'm really not worried about it. I did add a couple of new corals, a little toadstool, or sorry, a little finger leather, and some kind of tree coral. I'm not sure, not a Kenya tree, but maybe a finger leather that just hasn't grown yet. We'll see what that turns into. Super happy with it though. Wouldn't have kept it for 8 years if I didn't love it. Looks like I need a clean little skimmer back there. Looking kind of crusty with foam coming out of there. Well, that's all I really do. Clean that skimmer, change out these filter pads. Got one on each side. Make sure the heater is on. Make sure that the autofill reservoir down below has water in it. This stand, I've got to do something with this. I'm tired. This is like signboard. It looks okay until you get up close to it. But, I've had it for 8 years. I've moved with it many, many times. I never really wanted to have a permanent stand, I guess you could say. I always kind of needed something I could just throw around, move in and out. But now that I've got a home, I think I need something a little bit more permanent, something that looks real sharp. I want to make something that matches this SR80 stand. Just something easy. Try and avoid having the cords down below. Maybe have some area for the autofill reservoir to the side. Got my dog bed underneath here. Maybe I could have another small dog bed for my other little dog. Ivy could have a dog bed here, and Riley could have a dog bed underneath the lagoon. You think she'd like that? Do you think your sister would like having a bed like yours with the fan? Riley, do you want a bed like your sister's? Don't say anything if you do. Good girl. All right, and last but not least, my Ultimate Nature Systems 90P. I think I'm in love with this tank, y'all. It looks very, very good. At least in my opinion, right? Everything's subjective. But yeah, I'm super pleased with how everything's going. All these plants on top really seem to be taking hold. This little guy that I tried to plant up here maybe needs a little help, but we'll keep an eye on him, keep watering him. All these down here that are in the Wabikusa are doing great. Added some Hygrophila pinnatophyta down on the bottom, kind of around. We'll see those start popping up. Newest additions, 9 cardinal fish, the 4 American flagfish, and 2 sumo loaches. Rarely see those guys, but try and capture them sometime whenever they're out and about. You can see I'm starting to get some good growth out of the red tiger lotus. Again, I think that's going to be my favorite part of this tank once it's growing up and over this wood piece. I'm really excited for that day to come. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Just wanted to give you a quick rundown of all my tanks. You can expect that every Wednesday and project videos on Sundays. Remember to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave that down below. And we'll see you on Sunday. Thanks for watching.